Hey gang, this is Kevin Kelly at G4TV.com. I'm here to tell you about Lightbox Interactive's brand new game. It was just announced, Starhawk. Starhawk is the spiritual successor, quote-unquote, those are their words, to Warhawk, which you probably remember was a launch title on the PS3, it's a multiplayer-only game. And that itself was a successor to the previous Warhawk game, which was on the original PlayStation back in 1995, if you're even old enough to have remembered that. Starhawk uses that same sort of mechanic, especially the multiplayer mechanic from Warhawk, but it has turned it on its ear and added some new elements. We're going to take a look at it today. Basically, Starhawk now has what Warhawk didn't, and that is a single-player campaign. That was completely absent in Warhawk. You had up to 32 players multiplayer, but you could not just play single-player campaign missions on your own. Now they have that. You play as Emmett Graves. That's him right here, this guy with this contraption on his back that's keeping him alive. It's keeping this rift energy from killing him. It's slightly mutated him, as you can see from his eyes and his right hand, which is kind of glowing blue. You can see the bones underneath. This feature, right now what Emmett's doing in the background, is calling down units using the build and battle system. He's built a beacon that allows his allies to drop pods near him from the sky, and he can bring in additional units to help him out. These red markers on the screen, you'll see it kind of looks like a skull with a timer. That means an imminent alien invasion is coming. Not really an alien. These are outcasts. These are people who are trying to get these rift energy stations scattered throughout the planet. And they want to control them while you want to do the same for the rift miners. And you're trying to mine rift energy, which is the most valuable resource in this sort of sci-fi, lawless frontier, Firefly-esque universe that they've created for the game. Rift energy powers things, it's currency, it's what everyone trades, so of course it's valuable. It's like the gold rush back in California in the mid-1800s. It's now rift energy, though, instead of gold. They call it blue gold in the game. It looks a little more green to me, but hey, I'm willing to forgive because this game is actually pretty awesome. As you see there, when Emmett's killing people, he is actually getting rift energy from them. He's collecting it, and he can use it to build things. Like right here, he has just built a, this is an anti-air laser turret that will take down flying hawks. They call them hawks in the game. They look like mechs. They can walk on the ground, fire machine guns and missiles, and then they can transform into a flying hawk that takes to the skies. That red indicator on the screen means one is about to spawn. They're building a build station right there in front of him. That's what the air cannons look like, of course, right there. Here's the mech on the ground. He's firing missiles that are locking on. That red number indicates how many missiles are locking on, and bam, he jumps into the air, transforms in midair, and has turned into the Hawk flight mode, which is entirely awesome. You have machine guns and you have missiles. You get a kind of a little slow down, dramatic finish each time you kill someone when you're in that mode. It's kind of a nice little, hey, you're a badass touch. Here he's calling down more. This is another beacon here that he's building. Basically what happens is the foundation hits the ground first, buries itself in the ground, and then the unit builds automatically. And you can see these green lights indicate the drop pods are coming down. So Steve and Hostetler here are two allies for Emmett who will fight alongside him. They're AI allies that will take to the battle. Now here he sees 4 approaching enemies. So what he's going to do is lay down a wall. This is another unit he can call down. There's one of them right there. Builds itself really quickly. There's a ladder, as you can see, and you can go up to the top. What's cool here, you can place another wall next to it. It will band together. You can see between them. These 2 walls will form one cohesive unit. There won't be any gaps in between. He's going to drop another one right here. See, there you can go. You can see where they start to connect together. And it comes down. Now, you can actually upgrade this wall. He's going to do that right here. Touches his console. He's upgrading it to a gate. So that drops down, bam, and then there's now a gate there, which he can pass through. He could drive a vehicle through here if he wanted. He could walk a mech through, and then he can go back through and it'll close behind him. It's a nice way to keep out the enemy and yet still allow yourself access. That's a little automated turret he's about to drop right there. We're not going to get to see how that plays out, though. This is footage that Lightbox provided to us, by the way. We do not, unfortunately, have a playable build. That is just an awesome transform mechanic right there with that mech. We do not have a playable build right now, so this is footage that they gave us, but it is entirely awesome. You can see that radial wheel there. There is a lot of different tech available to you. You can get that in 2 different ways. In the single player, you have a sort of tech wizard guy on your team. His name is Sidney Cutter, and he will talk to you by an uplink, and he'll help you out on your missions. He'll give you various tech at certain points and let you call that stuff down. Also, you can find schematics on the floor, which look sort of like rotating holographic cubes. When you pick one up, it immediately gives you that new tech in your radial wheel, so you can call something new down right away. As you can see, he's walking in mech mode here, strafing ground targets, the little outcast guys who look so tiny. when you are this freaking big. The mech, the Hawk, was, one of the best things about Warhawk was flying and taking to the skies, especially when there's a huge battle going on beneath you. But they've added an element here by having the transforming mech that turns into the Hawk, which is just incredibly awesome. It's really kind of touchy to fly. It takes a little while to get used to, but once you nail the controls, you'll have a ton of fun dogfighting and strafing ground targets here. He's locking on with his missiles flying around. You can see how large the battlefield is when you kind of go into this flight mode and check everything out, and he's going to come back. There are power-ups you can pick up in the Hawk mode. You have to fly through things. You can get things like you can repair your ship. They'll start to smoke and catch on fire as they take damage, or you can pick up additional missiles and ammo and things like that. There are also hand missile launchers that you can pick up and carry, and those are helpful against air attacks if you are not in the air yet. What happens is you have to build an air station, and that's where you can launch the mech Hawks from. However, if you don't have one of those, you're not going to have access to the Hawks. It's a matter of saving up enough Rift energy to have enough to build that. Think of it as the Rift energy is kind of the combined Vespene gas and minerals from StarCraft that you have that allow you to build all of your different units. StarCraft does a very similar thing here with Rift energy, and as you kill different opponents, you'll pick up Rift energy all over the place and be able to spend it. There's a gauge on your upper right hand of your screen that'll allow you to keep track of that. The mech, there's a little more precise targeting going on when you're on the ground, especially against ground targets, and it's entirely powerful. Now, you can be destroyed. When you get hit enough, you can easily be taken out in these things. Your structures can be damaged and destroyed as well. I didn't find a way in the single player and in the multiplayer match that we played. I didn't find a way to repair your own structures. I'm not sure if they can be repaired. You can repair your mechs, but I was unable to fix for instance, my supply bunker. When that dropped down and started taking a lot of enemy fire, you'll know when it's damaged just by looking at it, but I didn't find a way to repair that. I'm not sure if there is one, but we'll find out more as we learn more about this game. This is, of course, the first reveal. Lightbox Interactive, the team behind this, they were made up of a lot of former employees of Incognito, which, if you may remember, was David Jaffe used to work there, Scott Campbell worked there. This is years ago. They did a lot of the Twisted Metal games. They did the initial Warhawk, the one that came out in 2007 with the PlayStation 3 launch. And for a long time, after David Jaffe left and the company kind of gotten smaller, the Warhawk team stayed on and they were supporting the game. They were updating the game. We had 3 expansion packs for the game over time, so they continued to show their love and support for their own product, which right upon launch there were some server problems, connection problems. It made the game sort of frustrating, but they quickly fixed those, and Warhawk became one of the best multiplayer experiences on the PS3. Common for me to go back in and keep playing Warhawk. I'll fire it up sometimes and play it and see what's going on. I don't know if you guys are the same, but it was a fun game. This was a great PS3-only experience, and this is a nice, updated, graphically improved, vastly gameplay improved version of that game, especially with these build and battle elements. Now, what's cool is that when you're in the Hawk mode here, you still have access to the full range of build and battle. You can drop down a bunker. You can drop down an anti-air turret if you're getting chased by a ton of enemy air. You can drop your own anti-air turrets on the ground, give you a little support while you're up there flying around. Those things will auto-target. And you can also jump in the anti-air turrets, which is a nice little touch in case you want to focus that laser on a structure or some ground units that are approaching you. What you do is you just come up behind one of those beam turrets and jump in, and you'll be able to target and fire it at will. There are also vehicles, and that's not what we're not seeing here. These are single-player levels here in the B-roll that they provided us. In the multiplayer, you can build a garage, and that garage allows you to spawn something that looks kind of like Halo's Warthog a little bit. It's got 2 seats in the front, a driver and a passenger, and a turret in the back, and it allows you to speed across the landscape and take people down with that turret in the back. It's great for capture the flag matches, which is the only match we were playing when we saw this game revealed. But it was incredibly addictive, and everyone wanted to keep playing multiplayer. It was a lot of fun. That's not to say the single player is not awesome, but we only got to play one level of that, and it's clear that there will be a lot more. You can see this guy's smoking and on fire, sparking a little bit here. He's clearly in trouble. But the multiplayer is up to 32 players, just like Warhawk was. They'll be playing against each other in a variety of different game modes. They haven't revealed any yet, except, of course, the capture the flag, which is a staple nowadays if you have multiplayer games. The cool part about single player is there's a whole story that ties everything together. Emmett Graves is kind of uncovering why these outcasts are coming after all these rift stations. There's a mysterious outlaw behind everything, and his family may be involved in this. Emmett's family may be involved in this entire struggle between the two factions, which are the outcast and the rift farmers, or the rifters as they're called. Energy, and kind of hoping to either make a living for their family or maybe get rich. Get rich or die trying, as 50 Cent would say. So you really, just look at that dynamic background. You've got lightning striking a planet that looks like Saturn. All this is going on in the background. It's just a beautiful backdrop to the dogfighting and the ground battle that's taking place up close. It's just still kind of a nice touch. It's nice to see people put so much work into their backgrounds, which a lot of people don't even notice. Dogfighting in the game is awesome. There's a lot of dogfighting going on. You can jump in a mech, turn it into hawk mode, and take to the skies and spend all of your time in that mode if you don't get shot down, completely ignoring the ground battle, or maybe you're just going for air superiority. Or you can likewise stay on the ground the whole time and never once get in a mech. You may drop down some anti-air cannons to take care of the hawks upstairs. You don't have to worry about it. Instead, you and your buddies are focusing on a ground battle. You build some garages. You get the vehicles going, and it is a lot of different variety. What you don't get to see here is a lot of the other types of units. The turrets that you can drop, they're very small, but they're very powerful. They are great for mowing down approaching ground units. And there's a bubble shield that you can get that's it's one of the most expensive things. I think is actually the most expensive thing you can buy and build in battle, at least right now from what we know. But in the multiplayer, it was very expensive. You really had to bide your time and not spend your rift energy on anything. And then when you had enough, you could call down this bubble shield that covered your base and protected you from incoming fire. And it was really, it looks gorgeous. This is green energy shield that appears. And of course, the enemy can come inside. It doesn't keep them out, and they can take down that generator, and boom, you're inside all over again. But this is kind of your first look at Starhawk right here. This is all true gameplay video. It's a really impressive looking game. It's Lightbox Interactive's first game since they formed this new studio. They did this in conjunction with Sony's Santa Monica studio, and we can't wait to see more of this. It should be out sometime in 2012, and it looks very, very impressive.